movie that I've been really wanting to see, and now I can't remember what it is. So
Han Solo.
For some reason, that is like I have no interest in that.
I'll see it at some point. You know,
likewise.
It's one of those.
I'm gonna see it at some point,
Do
but
you
I'm
think-
not like.
I don't even think it's that I'm Star Wars'd out per se. I mean, maybe a little, but like
I'm Disney Star Wars'd out.
yeah.
The last one left a real bad taste in my mouth. I did not like
Episode 8.
Last Jedi.
Last Jedi,
Last
yeah.
Jedi. Yeah.
It seems
there's so
like
much stuff everywhere.
I'm optimistic that it's setting up really cool shit for the last movie.
Yeah.
If that
I
was
hope
why
so.
it was the
Well,
way
the
it
last
was,
movie-
then that's fine.
The last movie being a year and a half from now, and then also an Obi-Wan movie and I almost called him Vile
Boba Fett
movie.
Yeah.
And then another trilogy, and then another trilogy.
Right,
There's
yeah,
literally
it's like-
9 more movies in development right now.
Yeah. It's just like
They gotta fucking chill.
I wouldn't care if they were all gonna be good, but I can't imagine that like
they're
there's gonna
already like
be dipping.
declining in quality and like
Yeah.
I mean, Solo got really middling reviews too, right?
yeah.
It also
Yeah.
did horrendous at the box office.
Right.
Like,
And I think that's a response. People are like, I don't want a mediocre Star Wars movie every year. I want a good Star Wars movie
Every
maybe
decade.
every 5 years,
I
10
mean,
years.
it
Something.
used to be.
Like,
It used to be every 3 years they would put out a Star Wars movie for each of the first 2 trilogies.
yeah,
It was 77, 80, and 83, and then 99, 2002, and 2005.
yeah. Even
I don't think that's right.
It
even
is.
the prequels were more spaced out than this. You know, like.
Yeah.
And I know that it's because it's Disney that they have multiple production teams doing different movies.
But
know,
you also
like-
have so many different voices that it gets hard to get a consistent feel for it, and like
Yeah.
you kind of go into the Star Wars movies right now not really knowing what you should expect in terms of.
I had problems with the transition from episode 7 to 8 because there were different directors and different visions, and
Yeah.
like it was not.
I
it
didn't
didn't
hate-
feel consistent.
I didn't hate the slightly more comical sort of tone in 8, but it was a jarring difference from
Yeah, it's just it's much
7,
less
which
consistent,
which was a lot more
yeah.
serious and not really grim, but like
7 was pretty good, but it also was just a rehash of 4.
yeah.
Like pretty blatantly. Like
yes.
Yeah.
that's okay to a point, but guys, like it's a bigger Death
And
Star.
a lot of 8 really does feel like a rehash of 5. Not nearly as directly. Like, it's not a copy,
Yeah,
but the
I mean-
themes are still...
Again, like the big snow battle. It's not snow, it's salt. Oh, okay, guys.
You know, oh, okay.
It's
so
still a big snow battle. I don't
Yeah,
care if it
yeah,
turns
yeah.
red sometimes. And like that whole thing with the I don't know. I feel like there were subplots in that movie that could be removed
Yeah.
and like
Yeah.
totally fine.
No, I'm not going to sit here and say that everything about Last Jedi was
No,
wrong.
of course, yeah.
There were some cool stuff,
but overall, I just like it just after watching, I'm like, okay, this is what Disney's doing now. I
Yeah.
can see Disney's handprint all over this.
Yeah.
You know, like it feels.
I mean, the
very,
giant mouse in the ending was also really, kind of a bummer.
It's kind of weird because I don't feel the same way,
Nicky.
currently anyway,
It's a joke.
about the Marvel movies. They don't have
Yeah,
that
Marvel
same...
knows what they're doing. Well, so
They did fight hard to keep Disney from being too hands-on.
yeah.
And maybe, the Star Wars folks aren't really...
I think it's easier to be a Marvel movie because I expect less from a Marvel movie.
Yeah,
I guess
that's
I just
true.
want a roller coaster ride. You know,
And remember,
Yeah.
long before, we have to remember 7 and 8 are still way better than 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'd say
No,
seven's better than 3. I don't know if I don't know how I feel about 8 versus 3. to be
It's definitely still
totally
better
honest.
than 3. 3 has some cool moments, but most of it is still bullshit. Watch
Yeah.
it again.
I should watch the prequels again because like I have a lot of hate for them, and watching them now being a little more mature, like
You'll probably
well,
hate it
how-
even more.
Well, I don't know. Will I be able to look at this? Will I look at this more critically or more fairly? Like when I saw
Maybe,
them
yeah.
a while ago, was I being unfair and just being like, oh, I'm supposed to hate them, so I
Right.
will hate them? You know what I mean? I don't know. I haven't seen them since the theaters. Like, it's been almost 20 years since I've seen those
Wow,
movies.
yeah.
I remember even when 2
15-ish,
came out being like, what is this? Like,
Episode 2 is just, yeah.
It's a bad
Yeah.
soap opera in space.
I mean, 1 barely feels like Star Wars at all.
One feels very different, but like it's not a complete garbage movie. It's not what I wanted, but it was like it's doing things.
And it's
Episode 2, nothing fucking happened. It was just
Yeah.
like Do you want to watch Star Trek instead, where it's that political episode and they just go and talk to ambassadors the whole time? Here it is in Star Wars now. Like,
and then pod racing happened.
Pod racing was
episode 1.
I mean, there were some.
No, sorry. That's what I was talking about. Episode 1. I mean, the whole prequel trilogy really was.
There were some entirely CG lightsaber battles with a lot of jumping.
Man. There we go.
And they really mishandled the fact. Like 1, 2, and 3 seem way more futuristic than 4, 5, and 6.
Right.
Just because they were made in a newer time, not because they're set in a newer time. You know what I mean? Like
but they could have made it feel.
They could have, and they didn't.
When episode 7 came out, like they brought it back to feel much more.
Yeah, and they did a great job. You know, like in that one specific way.
And it would have made more sense for that one to be more futuristic. Like, I guess the world is a bit more bleak, so
yeah.
Maybe the idea is in the prequels, like it was before shit went down, so it was a more even polished.
I've heard that
society,
argument made, but I
guess,
still don't really.
Like,
I don't know.
But like, why would people get worse at sword fighting? I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I don't know. There's a lot of problems with a lot of it.
If you go back and watch the episode 4 fight between Vader and Obi-Wan,
it's real slow. But by those rules, like those two should have been flipping and jumping all over the place if 1, 2, 3 are meant to be believed.
And don't give me the argument that they got old, because Yoda was jumping and flipping around
Yoda
all over
was
the
all over the
place,
damn
and
place.
he was still 300 years old.
The
at that
only
point,
the only way they could possibly even pretend to explain it away a little bit would be like, despite everything that they've put each other through, they're still reluctant to really.
That's a bad argument.
Oh, I agree.
Come on.
It's awful.
It's
It's the
horrible,
only one that I would even remotely accept.
Or like keep the flippy jumpy stuff to like Yoda and maybe General Grievous because he had like 1,000 hands.
Yeah.
And like everyone else is just like, you know, kind of normal.
Yeah. Samurai battles.
Yeah. Yeah, that would make a lot more sense.
That's
or like, you know what? I didn't need to see Yoda lightsaber fight.
I didn't
need to see
want
that
to.
happen.
But if they wanted to get that out of their systems, at least that somewhat makes sense because he uses the Force because he's so much physically weaker than everyone
At that
else.
point, just like have him more of a Force wizard than a fighter.
Well, that's what they should have done with like Obi-Wan and Dooku, and I feel like they didn't do a great job of that either.
Yeah.
Also, why was Count Dooku a thing?
Ugh.
Weren't I read
they
somewhere that
needed a
Dooku and
disposable
Grievous were
bad
meant to be
guy.
one character at some point? Or like there's some shit
There was something
about like
it.
added late in the game for some reason.
There was something about
Look at
that.
those sex eyes. Minda, give it a rest.
Blurg.
Sexized.
I don't know. I feel really bad for Ewan McGregor because he did a great job with a steaming pile of shit.
Yeah.
If they don't bring him back for the Obi-Wan movie,
I'm done.
because the movie
That would actually get people in the seats,
Yeah,
I think.
the
Yeah.
movie is supposed to take place in between 3 and 4, like all of the Star Wars stories have, and it's been
I think
about 20 years since Episode 1 at this point. Like
I think he wants to do it too.
I'm sure he does.
it sounded like it.
Give him a chance at redemption.
So I think and this is what hurts a lot. The only reason that they wouldn't do that is because of budget. Like he might require too much money.
How is that
doubt-
possible though?
yeah.
They've got 9-figure.
I mean,
Oh,
that's
no,
budgets,
they have the
you
money,
know?
but it's a pride thing. They might not.
Yeah,
they might not
I'm
be
just
like,
saying
you're
that's
not worth this much.
the only reason that he would
Ugh.
not be cast.
I
Like
could.
he wants to do it.
Yeah.
The fans want him to do it.
Well, they might not realize that, and they might be going in with the mindset of we have to distance ourselves from the prequel trilogy as
There's
much
a
as we can.
strong. I mean, yes,
he's the
but
only good thing about
He
the
really
prequels.
is, and I feel so
Like,
bad for him.
Episode 8 though did name check the prequel trilogy. I wasn't expecting them to, but then
yeah.
they did.
No, they tried to. I think they're trying to like.
Wait, how did they name check the
I
prequel?
forget what they did.
When Luke is talking about the mistakes that the Jedi Order made, it was like they thought they could bring balance to the Force. They thought they could do this, and they sat on their high tower, and
Oh, okay.
so basically kind of criticizing the.
Yeah.
And very rightly so.
The original
the
Jedi Order.
super lazy Jedi Order of
Yeah.
episode of the prequel trilogy.
Yeah. Natalie Portman can act, but she was like, I think she was directed to not act.
Yeah.
You know-
Hayden
yeah,
Christensen, I think, was
Oh, for fuck's sake!
both. He might be okay in a movie where the writing was stronger.
yeah.
You know,
Hayden
I don't.
Christensen, He's
I don't
actually got a
hate
movie
him.
coming out like right now. I think.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Like, I don't hate him. I just think he's like a mediocre actor with real bad material, and
Yeah.
he looked even worse than he probably is.
Yeah,
in
yeah.
those movies.
The writing was
I don't think-
horrendous.
Right.
That was the biggest problem with
all
those.
the writing did is like highlight that he's a meh actor.
I literally believe the three of us could have written a better prequel trilogy.
Let's be real. Look at that script, though. Like, how can you expect someone to act their way out of there?
Yeah.
Like, it's bad. And, like, even you got some of the memeiest shit, too, with, like, the, I hate sand.
Yeah.
And it's just like, oh, see, this is a reference to, because he was a kid on a desert planet.
Whatever,
and Luke will be, too. Fun reference. Horribly written. Thanks, guys.
And, like, I actually liked Liam Neeson. I think it was so long ago now, but, like, I like Liam Neeson in general. I would have loved to see more of him.
He was such a weird choice, though, for Qui-Gon Jinn.
It was
think so?
weird, but I think he played it fine.
Yeah.
He played it fine. It's just like...
I didn't know him at that point at all, so
I didn't
it just seemed right.
Right.
You know, like
Something
an
about
older Jedi with a good heart and a better head on his shoulders than the rest of the lazy council.
Yeah.
It seemed kind of right.
It was kind of nice, too, because Qui-Gon Jinn is, like, riding the line between light and dark a little bit more than anyone else.
Yeah. He's a bit more willing to fight dirty and just get
He's more of a chaotic alignment.
Yeah. And I think in, like, novels and stuff like that, he's even more so, but for the screen, he was still a Jedi, but, like, just a rambunctious Jedi, you know?
Yeah.
I would have liked to see him be a bit more gray, but... I don't know.
Yeah, that's actually really interesting, too. We've yet to see a Force user, I don't want to say Jedi, I don't want to say Sith, who's right in the middle.
Yeah.
Like, we've had people oscillate from one side to the other, but we haven't seen someone who just is themselves. They're not attached to either, and they do what they want for their own reasons.
And
I was going to say,
there's
like,
supposed to be a whole group of people that are like that.
I would imagine, yeah.
An expanded universe and stuff like that.
Although
that's all gone now, so...
I would have liked to see a bit more of Luke kind of being that, like, line rider. They kind of teased it a little bit.
Yeah.
See, that's what I thought...
In the original movies.
That's what I thought, like, they were going to have his new school be in the new trilogy. You know, like, teach both sides of the Force.
Yeah.
But then they're like, nah, it's just good again.
I'll try not to spoil too much, but basically, like...
I don't think Episode 8 is really in danger of spoilers
well, I'm just
at
gonna
this
say
point.
it then. Like,
I think 6 months.
I think they
Put a
fumbled
spoiler
Luke
warning
in the ending of that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
What?
Like, I think they totally fumbled a bunch of stuff with Luke at the end too. Like, why does he project himself to fight with Kylo Ren and then die anyway?
It might have been
like,
buying time kind of thing. Like,
but
it would have taken too long for him to get there.
No, there's no reason for that. Like, we've seen so many more hand-wavy things in Star Wars that, like, he projected himself and had a fake fight with Kylo Ren and didn't get hit once and then dies. You know what I mean? Like,
no. He totally got hit. Like, he got lit up. The problem is he
wasn't there.
It
doesn't matter. You know what I mean? Like, he didn't react to any of those.
Sure.
So it's like, it just seems like they were like, well, he's going to die. So either have him go and fight and die in the fight, or have him live after the projection fight. Like, it just seems like a stupid way to do things.
It seemed like more of him taunting Kylo Ren than anything else, of being like, like showing up, getting he should have been blown apart by all the weapon fire, and then he just kind of like brushes it off to make it seem as though, like, you can't touch me, kid.
But all the more
I'm the best fucking Jedi there ever was.
Right.
Like, you shoot me with lasers, not going to do anything.
Right.
Which is awesome.
Reality,
But all the more reason he should have lived and then fight with Kylo Ren in the third movie for real with that fear in Kylo Ren's heart or something.
Yeah.
There's no reason he needed to die.
The way that they set it up, I felt like there was no reason for him to die.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Except that apparently the next movie must need it.
I'm
unless
curious,
they're gonna have him just be purely Force
That's
ghost
what I'm
type
wondering,
stuff in the
is
next
if-
movie, but
is if it was less him dying
But
and
that's
more
going to
him
be
just
even
kind
harder
of.
to swallow. You know what I mean? Like, that's going to be...
I don't disagree. That might be a decision that someone made at some point.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if the idea is less death, the way that we tend to see it in there, or more him just transcending to that Force ghost kind of realm.
Maybe, but he was sweaty and shaking and moan. Like, I think he's
just
dead.
Well, maybe
No,
transcending to be a Force entity is just hard. You know?
Yeah.
He also
I also
did-
think that they could have made him a lot grayer, and he, like, his attempt to kill Kylo or almost kill Kylo or whatever, kind of puts him there, but you can still see where he's coming from the good point of view.
Oh, yeah.
He thought it was for the greater good.
And he did ultimately pull back. He chose not to at the last second.
So yeah, but like, he would have been a great one to, like, actually be that gray Jedi we were talking about.
Yeah.
And like, they fumbled that too. Like,
if anyone should have been, it would have been Luke, because he was
Exactly.
supposed to be,
everybody else
the one who balances the
across
Force.
the
and he has
franchise
it all
is too
in
extreme
him.
to do it otherwise.
yeah. So I just like,
Actually, Rey has the potential for it as well. They seem to be setting up a lot of Rey and Kylo stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, but and so this is where I find it. This is where I feel Disney's fingerprint all over it. Is like Rey, the clear good guy, Kylo, the clear bad guy. You know, it's just like very cut and dry.
I don't think that's fair because they both have moments of like kind of crossing over each other's lines. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like I'm with you. I think maybe Disney being like, oh, we can't have Luke die in a lightsaber match. Yeah. That's why he has to force die at the end.
Right.
Like that might be a Disney fingerprint.
Yeah.
But I think there's definitely like Darth Vader was a much clearer bad. I am bad the whole time until the very end.
Yeah.
Than Kylo is. I feel like
Kylo's got a lot
do you
of.
agree?
What has Kylo done? I mean, he hasn't done anything to show that he is redeemable.
I mean, he murdered the fuck out of Snoke.
Well, but it
but that
seemed like
doesn't make him good. That makes him lusting for power. He's in charge.
But
now.
it seemed like he was
Or he was
conflicted
trying
about
to take the shackles off, kind of thing.
Right. It seemed like he was
He was
gonna.
tired of being Snoke's bitch.
He had a
basically.
moment of thinking like maybe I can work together with Rey now that Snoke's dead. But then he like the greed for power got him.
Yeah, he toes that line, but ultimately he goes back to being even more evil. You know, like
I guess you're right.
And then he gets even angrier when the lasers don't work, and he's yelling to fire all the lasers, and he gets down there and he's fighting Luke. He's even angrier and more unleashed.
I do like the idea, though.
I do like that he's chaotic evil or chaotic neutral rather than like Vader, who's probably lawful evil.
But it just feels like it's all set up to sell toys and have a bad guy and a good guy for kids to pretend to be.
Without a doubt.
That's all. That's the influence I'm talking about.
I think you're totally right, but we also have to remember the series has always been that. So
yeah.
You know, and
they made Ewoks to sell toys and for budgetary reasons.
But with Vader, he is ultimately redeemed.
Yeah. Well,
he's a more conflicted character than Kylo is.
What do you think the odds that Kylo doesn't get redeemed by the end?
Yeah, I think there's got to be something.
I actually don't think he should.
The kid of Han Solo and Leia isn't going to go out like a complete
and that's
monster.
the other thing that fucking weirded me out. Like they let him kill Han probably because Harrison Ford didn't want to keep going.
He wasn't even trying to survive the original trilogy, much less make it to this one.
And they didn't let him kill Luke, but like he's already somewhat irredeemable because he killed Han.
Yeah.
But like maybe they do want to redeem him, so they didn't have him kill Luke. Even though he kind of did because he died because of doing that. It's so stupid.
Although Kylo now has
I just feel stupid
with the
saying
idea
these words.
Kylo now has to deal with the idea of both I didn't get to kill Luke. He went out on his own terms, kind of deal, and now he's probably going to be fucking haunting him.
Hopefully,
like as a Force ghost.
That would be an interesting thing that they'll never do, like the psychology of that sort of haunting.
I would love to see.
That's too complicated for the movies.
I would love to see Kylo doing all his shit, but here's Force Ghost Luke hanging out nearby, being like, "Yo, you know, you can stop all of this."
Yeah, imagine
that would be cool.
Imagine if they played with Luke as a Force Ghost talking to Kylo, and like you're
That'd
not sure if it's actually Force Ghost Luke or Kylo kind of going crazy and being taunted by like
would be awesome.
Own internal demons.
Like that would be like awesome, but they won't do it.
Well, let's keep this going, and we'll talk some more about it next time.
All right, bye.
Well, excuse me, princess. Check it out. You got the with the and the with the.
Whoa, shit! We're actually gonna see it.
Yeah.
I feel like it's
also
the
that had
same
almost
idea
nothing
of
to do
like
with that plot.
The actual war. And no kidding. It's just like, oh, now there's a battle. We see a bit of fighting. Yoda's really sad.
No, yeah, we see a couple of Mexican people that are apparently the clones.
What is that guy's name?
Django Fett?
Django Fett.
Well, no, not Django Fett. I know that, but I mean the actor's name.
He doesn't have a name. It's Django Fett.